Today, Sylvie and I are in the beautiful old market town of Ludlow in Shropshire. The old part of the town dates back to the 11th century after the Norman conquest and is centred on a small hill overlooking the River Teme. We're starting off in the market square, which is situated roughly in the centre of the old town. There's quite a variety of stalls in the market, but surprisingly there's one that's dedicated to licorice. Dozens and dozens of different types, and it's probably the most aromatic of any market stall. At the western end of the market square is Ludlow Castle, outside of which stands this impressive old cannon, which was captured during the Battle of Sevastopol in 1857 and is one of the same type they currently use to make Victoria crosses. The gardens outside of the castle are very popular with visitors and locals alike. We're walking down the road beside the castle gardens for the next part of our sightseeing tour. This road is called Dinham. Along the road we passed Dinham House, an 18th century townhouse that once held Napoleon Bonaparte's brother Lucien a prisoner in 1811. The road eventually brings us to a bridge that crosses the River Teme. This is known as Dinham Bridge. Here there is also a picnic area and a cafe, so I think it's time for a quick cup of tea. After a cup of tea, we head off over the bridge. When we reach the other side of the bridge, we head straight up the footpath in front of us. This path goes up the side of a hill and brings us to a place known as Whitcliffe Common. From here you get one of the best views of the town and its castle. We're now heading back down the path and towards the bridge again. When we reach the bridge, we turn and take the riverside walk. This path, which is only about half a mile long, has an unusual name. It's known as the Bread Walk. The Bread Walk was constructed in the early 1800s by locals who were suffering the effects of unemployment and poverty. But rather than being paid in cash, they were paid in loaves of bread, which is how the path got its name. The end of the path brings us to a place called Ludford, situated just south of the old town. When Sylvie and I came here last year, we bumped into a familiar figure washing his car outside of his house. It was TV celebrity Alistair McGowan. We're now crossing the Ludlow Bridge, which brings us to a street called the Lower Broad Street. At the top of Lower Broad Street, we come to the actual Broad Gate. This is now the only remaining gate into Ludlow, out of originally 7. Once through the gate, we now enter Broad Street, which is renowned for its splendid Georgian houses. Ludford has over 500 listed buildings, many of them dating from the medieval period, and one of these is the impressive Bodenham building, which dates from the early 1400s. Just round the corner from Bodenham's, we enter an area known as the Bull Ring. Here is the charming old timber-framed Bull Inn, which is believed to have been a type of hotel in medieval times. Close to the Bull Inn, we come across what is probably the most attractive of all the old buildings in Ludlow, the Feathers Inn. The Feathers was built in the 1600s as a private house for a lawyer, but by the end of the 17th century it had become an inn with stables. It's become one of the most iconic buildings in Ludlow. We're now heading down College Street to see Ludlow's St Lawrence Church. Right behind the church is a charming part timber-framed building known as the Reader's House. Originally a schoolmaster's house, but in the 1700s it became home to a reader or a lecturer who was appointed to serve the church. As we continue walking down from the church, we pass this building, which was once one of the original 7 gateways into the old town. And this brings us onto a long alleyway known as the Linney. Ludlow has many similar narrow streets which are all a pleasure to explore. One alleyway, known as Church Street, is home to one of England's oldest pubs, the Rose and Crown. After a lot of walking, it's time for a drink. Any first-time visitors to this pub should take the time to hunt down the mice which have been carved into the pub's woodwork by the renowned woodcarver Robert Mouseman Thompson. One of the joys of Ludlow is that you can pretty much see all of it in one day, and it is one of England's loveliest old towns.